Hello and welcome back to Football by the Numbers. I am John. You know me as the Stat Man. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. As you can see on my screen here, I have our video we did a couple weeks ago talking about the U.S. men's national team going to sweep the World Cup qualifiers. As we all know, they did not. We came out with 5 points though. It was a good showing. But today, I'm going to do something a little different. I am not joined by any of my compatriots, so you and I are going to have a sit down. We are going to watch my video, and we are going to get live reactions of it. By live, I mean I'm live. I'm watching this video live. I'm going to watch all 30 minutes of it. You're going to get the best parts. Let's listen to this. Let's dive into this. Before I get started, though, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting this channel. I hope you guys have enjoyed everything we've had to offer you. If you did not, or if you have other ideas for us, let us know in the comments below. Let us know. You can write to us also at footballbythenumbers10@gmail.com and suggest some topics for us to discuss. You can subscribe, you can like, you can give us a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, etc., Radio Public, Pocket Casts, all that good stuff. Without further ado, let's dive into this. Let's react to some of this. Also, before we react, stay tuned for our next video. I'm going to be joined by my two compatriots, my two compadres, Will and Andrew. We will be back discussing the U.S. men's national team, the highs and the lows of the U.S. men's national team qualifiers, what we need to see from Berhalter going forward, and so on and so forth. Without further ado, let's get into this. But, speaking of America, let's talk about the World Cup qualifying lineup that was just released by Berhalter. Let's talk about these qualifiers indeed. Let's go. And that first game is against El Salvador. The second game will happen on Sunday, September 5th, against Canada, our neighbors to the north, eh? And the third game will happen against Honduras on Wednesday, September the 8th. Before we go on, just real quick about those three games. The game on September 2nd in El Salvador was played in El Salvador. We played like garbage. We couldn't finish. It was a rowdy environment. That game finished 0-0. The second game, on September 5th, we played against Canada at home and tied 1-1. I don't know how you draw at home in a World Cup qualifiers when you've just beaten Canada in 2 different tournaments. I don't know how you do that. I don't know what's going on with our team. Whatever. The game on September 8th really flattered us. We won 4-1 against Honduras. I've been on the Pepe train for a long time. I've been saying get Pepe into this lineup, and sure enough, on his debut, he scored and assisted too. So I don't know what Berhalter needs to see, but I'm sure it'll be brought up in this. Sargent's got to go. Pepe needs to be on the train. He needs to be on that plane to the World Cup in Qatar, December 2022. Unacceptable that he's been excluded from the lineup for this long. It's unacceptable that Sargent's still in there. I love Sargent. He's an STL boy. That's where we have our podcast. I mean, his performances have been trash recently. He needs to be better if he wants to beat out this lineup. And if we're doing this right, based on form and based on merit, Ricardo Pepi's been more in form than Josh Sargent for the last year. So I'm excited for these World Cup qualifiers. I think it gives us a wonderful opportunity to test some talent. What do you think we're going to do, Andrew? Nothing. We did nothing. We got 5 points. We should have gotten 9.
I can't see them not having any more confidence than they already have.
Yeah, we're undefeated in international tournaments for like ever. What am I talking about for like ever? We have had some embarrassing exits from the World Cup. Really, like, we were limping to the barn both times we beat Mexico. Let's be completely honest. And we didn't even play Mexico. We drew to Canada, who we beat 1-0 in the Gold Cup, I believe it was. And we drew 0-0 away to El Salvador. Now, that's kind of a hard place to play from what it looked like. We were not really in it. You know, it was the first time these guys have played together for a while, having kind of mixed in with their clubs. But we do play Jamaica, who I think will be a little harder than it has been, because I believe Michaela Antonio and Leon Bailey have both declared. If our defense has been playing like it has been, Jamaica is going to whoop our ass. We better bring Critchards in from Hoffenheim for that game. I am so tired of seeing John Brooks get beat. I am so tired of Berhalter playing center backs at the left back position. We better bring an A lineup for that Jamaica game because Mikel Antonio and Leon Bailey are going to whoop our ass. That they will play for Jamaica. So those are two Premier League talents that will be a little too difficult, but I think we can come up on top, right? Maybe not now.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you're looking at our qualifying for the next 3 games. We don't even have our best lineup yet. I mean, I think the U.S. is still trying to kind of find out what their best starting 11 is going to be. You know, you see Berhalter kind of having similar picks coming back and forth. He's got a little bit of a mixture of the Gold Cup and the Nations Leagues, but I still don't think we have our strongest lineup.
We need our strongest lineup. I don't know what Berhalter's doing trying to mess around. Like we talked in this video a lot about some picks that Berhalter could bring in and some new players that he could experiment with. We saw how the experimenting worked in the first 75 minutes of that Honduras game. We were going to lose that game. We need to start gelling the chemistry together, maybe experiment in some of the easier games that we have coming up. These were supposed to be the easy games, and Berhalter couldn't experiment correctly. He needs to get a formation and a tactical style down. We need to attack, attack, attack. That's where our talent is. Attack, attack, attack. We can't just sit and park the bus with John Brooks, who can't defend one-on-one. We can't just sit and park the bus with 2 attacking fullbacks in Anthony Robinson and Serginho Dest, who should be the starting fullbacks. Let's be real. There are no other competitors for right back and left back spot. I don't know why it took Berhalter so long to see that Anthony Robinson is the one who should be starting at left back. I'll say it again, Berhalter. Anthony Robinson is the one who should start at left back. He scored and saved our butts against Honduras on September 8th. He needs to work on retaining possession because he loses it way too often and he gets caught out, but we need to work on a tactical style. Turner, the hero of the Gold Cup, who featured in that. So what I will say, Matt Turner's done a really good job. Style of play I want to see is either a possession style or a gegenpress style. And what you kind of need for that is a sweeper keeper, which Zach Steffen is. So I will give him credit for that. I think Matt Turner and Ethan Horvath have done more than enough to earn their starting spots over Steffen, so I don't know how that alters Berhalter's plans going forward. You know, knowing the U.S. team, we'll probably fire our coach right as the World Cup in 2022 gets going or during the World Cup at some point.
We're seeing that maybe sometimes training doesn't correspond to game action and what's going to happen in those stresses. So I would
have loved to see that Brazil ban be upheld and Zach Steffen actually get some time with the Man City first team.
Did they get a goal scored on them? One goal scored on them in the entire tournament?
I don't think so. To be fair to Matt Turner, he has been lights out in the MLS this season. I believe the New England Revolution are ahead of the Seattle Sounders by 10 points. The FIFA rankings as of August 21st, I believe, they're ranked 9th and the United States is ranked 10th above some amazing
how dare they?
teams.
That is so rude.
Yeah,
so rude.
Above some really... Not after these 3 games it wasn't. Made it far in the Euro Cup. I'm surprised we're still ranked in the top 10. And above some other teams, and above some other teams like Germany.
Go ahead and say it. We knew it was coming. I knew you just
Germany deserves to be in the
to
top 10 with football being
Germany.
played. In my mind, Nottingham Forest is up there championship club. So he's got the English training facilities. This probably contradicts something that I already said, but it's really too early to tell who our starting goalkeeper should be. Ethan Horvath isn't getting too much playing time over at Nottingham Forest, which would pretty much de facto leave Matt Turner to be our starting goalkeeper. But we'll see how Matt Turner does next year. There's still a whole MLS season for him to play. There's the end of the entire rest of this season and then half of next season. Why don't you go at right back? Who starts? I think there's only one choice for right.
It's Dest. I don't think there's a question. I don't think there's a change.
Okay, so let's go through some of these guys. George Bello should not be on the plane. John Brooks, he should lose his starting spot, but I think he still deserves a place in there. Dest, obviously starting right back. Mark McKenzie, I don't know about our starting back too. I think, well, I'm biased, and I'm going to say Chris Richards should be one of them. John Brooks has the clout. Mark McKenzie had some good showings. Tim Ream, if he's on another freaking roster, Berhalter, I swear to God I'm going to scream. Anthony Robinson, we already talked about. Miles Robinson, James Sands, as long as you play him at center back next to a competent defender, don't ever put him at defensive midfield again. He looked lost in that midfield. DeAndre Yedlin, I'll be the first to say I was wrong about DeAndre Yedlin. He actually had an assist against Honduras. He actually looked kind of good in that game. He had a great cross that game. Walker Zimmerman, jury's still out on him, but I think he had he did have a pretty good Gold Cup. Yeah, bring him along, see how he does. Put Chris Richards at left center back or right center back. I don't care as long as he's one of the center backs. John Brooks, I think you have to put John Brooks. Not anymore, you don't. Not anymore, you don't. Don't put John Brooks in there.
I think Bullhalter is going to go with Brooks and Zimmerman because 1, experience, 2, chemistry, 3, that's just what his traditional pairing has been. I feel like Zimmerman
he needs to put Chris Richards in there.
His injury and his performance in
no
Gold
excuse.
Cup is
No excuse, Berhalter.
kind of his chance to get a little bit more minutes in under his belt.
James Sands was a pretty good ball-playing defender in that 5 at the back situation. Don't do 5 at the back again. Don't do 5 at the back again. What John Brooks lacks. Tired of seeing that crap. Who do you think is at left back?
I'm going with Anthony.
Yes, correct,
Robinson
Andrew.
From Fulham. I think you can't overlook his performance in the Gold Cup.
You can't overlook his performances in these World Cup qualifiers either. The only thing you can overlook him for is he loses possession a lot, and he needs to work on that while he's in the championship this year. But you can iron that out, and everything else. He's scored for us. He's assisted for us. He's done the overlaps that Serginho does on the other side. He's provided us a left-sided attack with Pulisic. Bring him along. He's a nailed on.
I can't even count on one hand how many times he broke up the play and saved a few breakaways as well as his head balls. I mean, he kind of pulled out.
See, the thing is, with Anthony Robinson, again, we're getting into the possession lost. Against Honduras, when he came on, he did have a lot of creation in that he would overlap and he would take the ball, and his dribbling ability was good, but he's not comfortable on the ball like Serginho is, where he can just dribble and take on defenders. He can lose the ball, and if he loses the ball, he's on the overlap with Christian Pulisic on the left-hand side. So that means either he's going to have to bust butt back, one of our defenders, our center mids, is going to have to come over and cover that area where Anthony's going to give the ball up, because against those bigger tier teams like the France, like the Mexico, like the Spain, like the Germany, they are going to abuse that. They're going to try and take the ball and start a counter as soon as they get the ball. We weren't punished enough against Honduras, and I hope Greg Berhalter learns his lesson before we play a lot of teams that can punish us from that lost possession. I think that George Bello would also be a good pick.
Wrong,
I
John.
wouldn't be surprised. He did tear his ACL, at the beginning of this MLS season, or was it over the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was early. I think
like
it was in
6
like
games
April.
played
so
or
let's
something
say
like
he takes
that.
a
He
full
was
year to get back into
posting
recovery
ridiculous
next
numbers
April,
of like
then
6
he'll
tackles
still
and
have 8 months to
interceptions
get back to full
per game
fitness
and like
for
3
the
aerial
World
duels
Cup
won a
in
game.
The winter
It was
of
incredible.
2022
He would have
because it's
been
being
lights
played in
out on
Qatar.
defense.
So that would be one of the only changes I have. Anthony Robinson is good there, and he played well for Fulham.
Played well for us.
I would have put Sands in and put Zimmerman and Anton Robinson in the back.
No.
But we all know
Wrong. Don't put Sands in.
my love
Don't
for
put
Brooks
Sands
is not
in.
very
He was
strong, so
crap
that would
at
be-
defensive
Those would be my
mid.
main changes
Against
that I'd make. I'd
Honduras,
love to see
too.
that pairing.
No
Yeah,
way
I
in
just
hell
had
am I
rose-tinted
putting him at
glasses
defensive
because
mid.
most of the time I see Brooks in a
Fuck
green
that.
shirt instead of a red, white, and blue shirt. I think we're both doing a 4-3-3 to start out with, and then we kind of have our own formations that we'd switch up with. There's no other answer for this. The 3 midfielders are going to be McKennie. Screw Berhalter for letting that kid go out. I know it was the night before. You give him a slap on the wrist, you tell him not to do it again. Screw Berhalter for sending him home. The kid's been on lockdown for a year and a half in Italy. He comes back and wants to go out and have a drink with the boys in Nashville before the Canada game? Come on, have some grace. It's COVID. He's been on lockdown. But it needs to be McKennie, Tyler Adams, because we saw when Greg moved him from that stupid right back spot because he thinks he can be Julian Nagelsmann and get the most out of Tyler Adams at right back, which he's nowhere near Nagelsmann. Don't even compare the two. You need to put Tyler Adams at center defensive mid and Brendan Aronson. Those 3 need to be in the midfield. I don't want to hear any Yunus Musa. Don't want to hear Leggett, I guess, is the other one you could put in there. Those 4 are the competing 4. I don't want to hear anybody else. I don't want to hear anything about James Sands in the midfield. I don't want to hear anything about George Bello in the midfield. I don't want to hear about Roldan in the midfield. Roldan is an MLS player. Let's get that straight. Don't get it twisted. Aronson plays for RB Salzburg, and he scored in the Champions League. McKennie plays for Juventus, and he played for Schalke before that. He was the best player on Schalke when he played there. Tyler Adams is up there in contention for captain of RB Leipzig now that Sabitzer is gone, and he is a good player. Those three need to be in the midfield. Maybe Leggett comes in because he is a good MLS player. Nobody else. I don't want to hear anybody else.
So I put Adams on the right, McKennie in the middle, and then I put Leggett on the left. With
Fair
a
enough.
hyphen of potential Roldan is another one that I could see
not
them
Roldan.
starting. Leggett
Leggett's
being my
okay.
favorite mid.
The other two midfielders that we didn't mention that Berhalter is bringing, since he's only bringing 5, are Kellen
I'm fine with
Acosta,
those
and I
5
guess you did mention
midfielders. You
Christian
need to
Roldan.
bring
Those are the 5 midfielders that are being brought.
Aronson as a midfielder.
Is kind of his tried and true go-to formation. I think that's
Insert plug for Caden Clark here. Caden Clark. Let's see him brought in. Caden Clark.
most likely Berhalter's
He made it into
gonna
this
go
episode, guys.
I love that you said you'd put a forward
We
in the
did
back
it.
because I did that for my change. Who would that be?
Brendan Aronson. It'd be either him or Gio Reyna.
Or Caden
Gio
Clark.
Reyna also got another assist in the Austrian Bundesliga against a team called...
Which reminds me, why is he considered a forward? The dude plays for center mid and sometimes defensive mid as a deep lying playmaker for RB Salzburg most of the time. Why is he a forward?
He's not playing too many full 90s, so I believe he's only played 2 since he's gotten to Salzburg, and that was against...
Okay, but he's
Vienna,
playing close
Austria
enough,
Wien,
John. Come on,
and
he's playing
against
close
SK
enough.
Berhalter's not going to do that. I think he's going to play him
Our
at the...
tier list or order of operations here for center mids is number 1, Tyler Adams. Number 2, Weston McKennie. Number 3, Brendan Aronson. Number 4, Leggett. Everybody else falls in below them. Yunus Musa maybe is above Leggett. Maybe.
I kind of would like to see Weah split
Not
out
in the
on
midfield,
right.
Andrew. Not in the
right wing
midfield.
or at right
He's a
mid?
winger.
Right mid. I think he's got some.
I do not want to see him at
unbelievable
right
speed
center mid.
that we could
Do
use
not
up
play
and down the line.
Timothy
Now, obviously,
Weah at
that's
right
we're
center
playing
mid if
with
you're listening
4
to this,
in the
Berhalter.
back. Even De La Fuente.
Conrad De La Fuente, man, I want to see him on the plane too. He had a good couple of games, I think.
So let's go through these forwards. We're bringing 8 to round out our 26-man World Cup.
Sub in Josh Sargent for Daryl DK, and I'm fine with every single one of those guys. Aronson scored. Conrad De La Fuente looked good for us when he played. Jordan Payfolk scored against Manchester United with the last kick of the game in the Champions League to beat him 2-1 for the BSC Young Boys. Ricardo Pepi, 1 goal, 2 assists against Honduras. Pulisic, Champions League winner. What more do you need to say? Gio Reyna, going to be a stellar player. Josh Sargent subbing for Daryl DK. Daryl DK's tried and true. Tim Weah, just keep him healthy.
Conrad De La Fuente of Olympique Marseille, who's only had 1 cap before, so I'm very interested to see how he does. We've got Jordan
Bring
Pefok
in the
or
Dilf.
Sibachu from the
He was a
BSC
good player,
Young
man. I was
Boys,
impressed with
Ricardo
him. If Conrad De La Fuente is up there with Anthony Robinson, that would be a disgusting left-sided combo. I know Pulisic usually plays there. Pulisic can play on the right. I think that's where he plays a lot for Chelsea. At least he did last year under Tuchel. And he's got a good relationship with Dest. So if we have Pulisic and Dest on the right and Dilf, De La Fuente on the left with Anthony Robinson, that would be a disgusting forward line. Put Gio Reyna in the midfield. Ooh.
I think he's got just about as many goal involvements as he does caps for the United States. Josh Sargent, for some reason, deserves a
Yep,
call up
for
here.
some reason.
I'm not the biggest fan of Josh Sargent.
Because he
even though he's
sucks.
I think it's
sound.
because Sargent kind of finds himself getting pulled back a little bit, so I think that kind of complements himself in a way.
I don't
but
even think he
don't
got
see him
pulled
going
back
to
that much
a couple
against
of
El
these other guys'
Salvador, and he
games
just
before he
could
plays
not
with
score.
Sargent, just simply because
The dude is like
Sargent's
goal
kind of a
averse. I
veteran
don't know what's
forward
wrong
that we
with
have
him. He
on the
just needs to
team,
find
and-
his
known
shooting
quantity.
boots and put them back on.
Yeah, I know you're not the biggest fan of him, but he does have some
Yeah,
talent.
he has
some
talent. He just
potential.
can't
I love his
score,
aerial
which is what we
threats.
need him to
Yes,
do.
he used- especially with DK being out, we're going to need a big, strong center forward to kind of hold up the ball and maneuver the ball out to our... It'll be interesting to see, but I don't think anybody gets a start above those 3.
Yeah.
No.
I think this...
Wrong. Sargent, throw him off the plane. We don't need him at the World Cup. Pepe, Payfolk, DK. Those are your 3. I don't care who's... I do care who's first. It's not Sibachu. Sibachu's not first. Pepe or DK can be... DK's first. Pepe's second. Sibachu's third.
but they're really scenario driven. You know, you're not going to bring Pepe in if you got a corner coming up and you need to sub a big tall guy who can head the ball in. You can play Gio Reyna as a false 9. He can work on his finishing, and then you can play Pulisic on the right and Dilf on the left. Sargent better not be on this freaking plane unless he's got like 7 goals by the time the next World Cup qualifiers come around. Don't really need to play the false 9. We don't want him to be the creator, because I think
we
have plenty of creators. We have Aronson, we have Pulisic, we have Reyna.
In the creative outlet. He's not a big
Kenny,
goal
we
scorer.
have
We
Adams,
saw in
we have
those
Robinson,
games in the
we have
Gold Cup,
Dest.
He does have a good way of getting
Brooks
into
is a good
goal-scoring
distributor.
positions,
Chris Richards
but
got an
his
assist last year for
finishing leaves something to be
Hoffenheim.
desired. I think it'd be more beneficial to have a big boy like Sargent charging into the box and having underlapping runs from Pulisic and Reyna to get into those goals.
How about a big boy like DK? The more Sargents on the field, the less games we're going to win because the less goals we're going to score. If we need a big boy to charge into the box, make it Payfolk, make it DK. So tired of seeing Josh Sargent struggle on the field. DK, 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 DK.
I remember a
doubter
time that you
before.
did not believe in the DK magic.
I was a doubter before.
That was so true. Andrew and I got into an argument about who was better, Daryl DK or Timo Werner. And at the time, we were talking about Timo Werner when he was at Stuttgart. And I said even Timo Werner's better than Daryl DK when DK was at Barnsley or wherever he was on loan. And then Timo Werner goes off and scores like 4 goals. He's got like 12 goals in 12 months for Chelsea. He's awful. He can't hit the broadside of a barn even for Germany. His confidence is in the garbage can. Meanwhile, Daryl DK's on the up and up. His value on transfer marks about the transfer fee that was received for Timo by RB Leipzig whenever they bought him from Stuttgart. So here's me eating my words. DK.
For the U.S. men's national team,
DK is like
especially.
Lukaku
And
Jr.
I wish that Orlando City would reduce his price so he could go over and play.
He's
where
not
he
as
deserves to
defined,
play
but
football.
he's got
And
that
how
talent. He could
I
be.
have been proven wrong.
He could be
especially about
ridiculous. He
Timo
could be
Werner,
rolling people.
And how I want to
Yeah.
see what
Oh, yeah.
Ricardo Pepi does. He's been playing extremely well for FC Dallas. I think.
I called it. See, I called it in this video. He's been playing well for FC Dallas. Play Ricardo Pepi.
At one point in time, he was linked with FC Bayern. That may just be
He should be.
imagination
Come,
coming into
Ricardo.
it, or it may be last
Ricardo
year's
Pepi,
Football
bring your
Manager
friend
game that I
Justin
was
Shea
playing
and
that
have a
comes
party
into
at
it.
Bayern
But
too.
on the right, I would like to see Timothy Weah from Lille. I want to see him play at right wing.
Lille are gonna
these
play
World
like
Cup
crap
qualifier
this year.
games. I think he brings.
Sorry
a
to
lot
say
to
it.
pace. I
Go
think
watch
he
my
would bring
Champions
a
League
ton
video. I
as
talk a lot
well
about Lille.
With Dest
They're not going to
overlapping
do
him and
well
making
this
those
season. They're
overlapping
going to
runs
fall
to
out of the
him going
Champions
into the
League. They're
box ready
not
for
going
a
to
cross
challenge
or a
again.
deflection. I want to see Conrad De La Fuente get in there. I want to see what he can do because he's been hyped for so long since he was at
For
Barcelona's
good reason. He's
Academy.
good.
Now he made the move to Olympic Marseille.
He's not
I wanna
Ansu
see what
Fati
this
good,
kid
which is
can
why
do
they
for the
sold
US
him.
men's-
I would love to see Aronson in the middle of Reyna and Pulisic. Just the creative ability
No,
out of
I'm
the
going to
three of
veto
those.
that.
See, I was going to switch and say Reyna in the middle. With
Oh, yeah.
Aronson on the right and Pulisic
I
on
could
the
agree.
left.
Good
Because-
call,
I could
John.
agree.
Way to
Because
correct
I do
Andrew.
think
That was the right
eventually
call.
Reyna's goal scoring ability will
It was
be
the
there.
right thing
And
to
if
do.
we
Yeah.
Dortmund versus Frankfurt, he played
Reyna
at right
slapped
wing.
that
Reyna,
first
this is,
match
played at
week.
right. 5 shot creating opportunities in a game is insane. So if we had
Yeah, if on average a team shoots like 15 shots a game, those aren't necessarily like shots on target. Maybe they are, but if they're shots on target, that's even more impressive. But if it's just 5 shot creating actions, let's say a normal team takes like 10 to 15, that's 50 to 33 to 50% of your shots are created by one player. If you've got anybody else creating that many, I mean, you're going to score goals, especially if you have somebody not like the opposite of Josh Sargent and Timo Werner, somebody who can actually score goals. Your team's going to be on fire if you have a player like Gio Reyna consistently performing like that every single game. This is why Italy did so well, is because their fullback in Leonardo Spinazzola had like 4 shot creating actions a game. I mean, they were on fire. And in the final, they didn't have Spinazzola. They struggled a lot more because they couldn't get those shot-creating actions done. But luckily, they had their Lord and Savior, Federico Chiesa, over at Juventus to pull them out. Some people might not agree based on recent results, but I think it might require a better coach than Berhalter. It does
I don't
require
disagree. I
a
think
better
Berhalter
coach.
still has
Berhalter
kind of
out.
fought and deserved his
Berhalter
position
out.
where he's at. Can't
As
argue
long as
with
we
two
have a
cups.
viable replacement that's better than him.
The big picture is the World Cup. That's what they're going for.
Canada shouldn't be that big an opposition because it seems like Canada just busts Alphonso Davies down the left wing until he gets hurt. And who else do they have? Kyle Larin, who will come in for Alphonso Davies in the 70th minute when Canada finally hurts Alphonso Davies, because he plays a ton of games for Bayern Munich and he plays every game for Canada, and he trains hard at Bayern. He trains just as hard at Canada. So they have Kyle Larin, who comes in. He plays for Besiktas. Who else do they have? Hutchinson, who plays for Besiktas. Jonathan David up front. But who else do Canada have? Why did we draw them 1-1? Why did we not score a single goal against El Salvador? Berhalter, get your stuff together, man. Come on. Figure out how to play soccer and stick with a style. And I think our team is now old enough to not have those bogey teams of those small Caribbean nation islands anymore.
You'd think
it's
so,
just
right,
us
John?
and Mexico. And I think we deserve top 10 might be a little extreme, but definitely like top 12, top 15 teams.
Top
U.S.
10.
men's national team is looking
No, not
great.
top
Forget
10.
it.
Let's
Forget
name
about.
Let's name 10 teams better than the United States. Going, not in order. Italy, England, France, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Portugal. That's just in Europe. Brazil, Argentina, Mexico. There's 10 right there. Netherlands, there's 11. There's probably some African teams that are better than us, but I can't think of any right now off the top of my head. Maybe Senegal, Egypt, Cameroon. There's 3 more right there. So that's 14. If Norway get to kicking and Odegaard and Holland, I mean, with the shambolic defense that we showed, we didn't get a whole lot of goals scored on us, but that's just because other teams can't finish. If we get Holland and Odegaard working on us, whoo boy, that is going to be a goal fest for them. I bet like Uruguay could beat us. I bet Colombia could beat us on their day. Top 20. Top 20s are my bet. Switzerland, Austria are probably better than us. Here's what I'm going to plug. Check out our intro and outro. Go check out our socials. Stay tuned for our in-depth player review and World Cup qualifier review next episode. We're going to have another episode on that where I discuss with my co-hosts their thoughts of the World Cup qualifiers. Will is finally back from the honeymoon, so we're going to get an insight on that. And Andrew has a dating life, and he's finally not busy enough to go on a date. What? We'll answer all these questions and more next time on Football by the Numbers, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Please leave us a like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. You know we love you. More episodes to come. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We are Football by the Numbers.